First time in a long time I've felt ready to film. Hey guys! So I'm going to be reading off of my computer screen a little bit because this is something that's tough for me to talk about, but I would like to get the conversation started. So apologies if I look down while I'm doing this. So as you might have noticed, I failed Veda. The last Veda video I put up was a video called "This is what depression really looks like." I would like to thank everyone for being really supportive and kind about that video. Once it was posted, I kept debating about taking it down, and then I started debating making this video. And ultimately, I decided it's time. Whew. Okay, so here comes the scripty part. So I'd like to talk about the mental health issues that I deal with and have been dealing with for quite some time. First, I'd like to address the depression, since that's what that video was about. I have struggled with depression on and off since I was about 13. Oh, I'm already getting emotional and I have such a long script ahead of me. In the last year or two, I suffered a traumatic experience, and my depression worsened quite intensely. In the beginning of 2015, I decided to begin medication. It was a really hard decision because for a very long time I had been avoiding medication for some reason. I didn't think I should have to need it. I hit the lowest point I have ever been in, and I realized that I needed to let go of my pride and realize that medication is a good option for some people, and for me it has been. After a lot of trial and error, I'm now on a fairly low dose of a medication called Cipralex, which leads me into my next topic, anxiety. I have been dealing with for the majority of my life. It is probably my most severe mental health struggle. I've been dealing with anxiety disorders since I was about 8 years old. It started with panic attacks at slumber parties and sort of progressively seeped into other areas of my everyday life and has really greatly affected me to this day, and I am 24 now. It's always been severe, it's always been a struggle. For a long time I had no idea what it was and why it was affecting me so intensely. Near the end of high school, I learned I had an anxiety disorder and started finding ways to cope, including counseling, self-care, and the recent addition of medication Cipralex, which is both an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety med, and has been working really well. So lastly, and this is probably going to be the hardest one to talk about because it involves that particularly dark period of my life, PTSD. This is the toughest one. At the end of 2014, I dealt with a trauma which left me with post-traumatic stress disorder. This encompasses a lot of things: nightmares, flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and of course, heightened depression and anxiety. Talking about mental health can be difficult. It makes us feel vulnerable and ashamed and weak, but you aren't any of those things for having to deal with mental health issues. The most helpful thing I ever did was talk about it. In the words of Josh Ramsey, the more you make it a secret, the more power it has over you. Whew. With all of that said, I want to talk about mental health more. So I am going to start a series of videos on my channel called SpoonFed, all about mental health, mental illness, and mental wellness. I want to share my experiences, the things that I have learned along the way, as well as hopefully have a few potential special guests to talk about their experiences. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry I was such a blubbering mess in this video. I even tried to script it and I still couldn't get through it. Keep an eye out for some SpoonFed episodes. If you'd like to be a part of my new series, please message me somewhere on the internet. And if you have any suggestions or questions or anything like that for topics for SpoonFed, please let me know. Also, in regards to my physical health, I have been diagnosed with reverse T3 thyroid dysfunction and adrenal exhaustion, which has made all of my mental health issues even harder to deal with because physically I am sicker than ever. But I have started to get better, and I talk about that a little bit more over on Death by Donut, so I'll link that, but I don't really go into a lot of detail. If anybody wants to know details about my illness that isn't mental illness but is my physical illness, if anybody wants to know about that, let me know, and maybe I'll do a video on that. If anyone cares. Okay, bye!